Does anyone have a question? Someone must have a question. Questions, I always say, are very good. They open up very deep areas inside and clarify a lot of things that are difficult to understand.
Stuart and I have a question.
Yes, well,
How best to support friends and family that are going through difficult times?
well, I mean, look, the answer is to that friends, family, love them unconditionally. Do what you can to help them, you know, but don't lecture them on the right way to live. Just try to tune into the way they live and have compassion for them, not in a condescending way, but in a true way in which you have patience with their lives, with the way they live and what they're going. I mean, look at even this thing, look at this thing in Los Angeles that's going on. I mean, it's like a nightmare, you know? And I called up Winnie today. She lives in Los Angeles. And of course, she said, she's in Las Vegas now, thank God, going to some animated film convention or something like that. But, I called up and I said, the greatest blessing is that I'm talking to you. And I know you live in Los Angeles and that, you're alive, you're well, your whole life hasn't been taken apart. So I suggest that people going through a difficult time, send them a flower, send them a cake, bring them a present, do something that says, I really love you, not just words, but I really love you here. Here's something that I think is quite beautiful, and you can, have it as a present and live with it. I mean, it's just a way of touching people without lecturing them, without trying to tell them the right way to live. Who the hell knows the right way to live? Everybody in this Zoom class lives a different way. Thank God. I mean, if all of you came here dressed in, yogi outfits with turbans, I mean, I think I would quit. I would quit. So I'm not, everybody is unique and we have to love them uniquely. And people that are going through difficult times, and look, frankly, there isn't a person on the earth that is not going through a difficult time. And I really believe that. And our job is to love them, do what we can to help them, and just bring compassion and love into the life of these people. So that's what I suggest. I really mean it. Look. I have it, every day. Somebody gets with their problem, with their this, their that, and I mean, uh, I just have to do something. I have to open deeply enough in myself to be able to touch a place in them where they feel the transmission of love. So it's not them. Those people are telling you about you. And I think that's an important thing to learn, that in order to console them and do something to help them, we have to open to a place deep enough in ourselves that can truly transmit to another human being unconditional love. And in that place, there's no judgment, there's nothing. There's just, let's say, nothingness. There's a connection with God. We have transcended our ego, what we think is right or wrong, and we have opened in such a profound place in our heart that we can transmit higher energy, God, love to other human beings. And I think that to me is probably the most important thing to learn about that situation. Not fixing them. How do I fix me? How do I get deeper in myself, open more mature, less impatient with the foibles of other human beings? And connect with them from that depth. It means they are reminding us that we have to grow. And I think that's an amazing way to approach it, that these people with all their problems and difficulty are reminding us we have to grow in order to connect with them in a real way.
I have a question, Stuart.
Hmm?
I have a question. Along those same lines, can we lighten their load by, say, they're in depression or they have great anxiety? Can we breathe their stuff into our third chakra and transmute it?
I would be very careful about that. I mean, look, I'll tell you a story, okay? I've told this story before, but it's a great story, okay? When I was studying with Rudy, he was doing healing work with a woman who had a very serious cancer. Very serious cancer. And I was in his store while that woman was in the back of the store waiting for him, and he asked me to go back and work with her. And I had never done this before. And I went back, she was sitting on a chair, and I started doing my breathing exercise inside, and I put my hand on her forehead to extract the poison, negative energy from the tumor. Well, within, I would say, 3 minutes, the negativity was so strong that I literally fainted at her feet. It was so strong. So what I'm saying is, you can do this, and I do this now. But man, it took years of working on myself to get strong enough to be able to absorb other people's negativity and not allow it to flood my system and literally made me, Rudy came back, he started smacking me. He said, get up and run around the block 3 times, That's what he told me. I mean, it was, and I learned something very important from that. I mean, I had another situation where, I don't know if you read the book I wrote called Leah.
I'm working on it right now.
Yeah, it was, all right, I got to keep it as fiction to protect myself. The mother in that book called me up one day, cursing me out, how I could present her that way and breathe. Trust me, I presented her very mildly. based on what that woman was doing in her life. But anyway, I flew every day from where I was living, about an hour flight to another city for almost 2 weeks. Went to the hospital and I worked on that girl, doing my meditation practice and my healing work that I had learned. And there was another woman in the hospital who had I think it was like a 2-year-old child who had serious cancer. And she asked me if I would work on her. And I couldn't believe, how could a child, 2 years old, what can she have done in her life to attract cancer, Started working on her. And it was like you see that movie, The Exorcist? It was like that movie. There was some kind of demon living in that child that she had brought with her from her last lifetime. It was creating that problem. And I said, well, I mean, the energy was so powerful and so negative that I had to stop. And I had to tell the woman, from my book, I can't work on that young girl. If I have to work on that young girl, I'm not going to be able to work on your daughter. And then I described to her what I experienced. It was like The Exorcist. It was like some devil living inside her that I was extracting from her being. And this is a 2-year-old child that she had brought with her from a past lifetime. So you got to be very careful. And I don't suggest anyone doing that kind of work with anybody unless you have built a system inside that is strong enough to protect yourself. Because it's very powerful work. I used to see people doing this Reiki nonsense with people putting their hands on people and taking all the negative, and I would see them turn purple while they were doing it. They didn't have the system inside themselves to be able to transform that negativity into chi, into Kundalini energy rising at the base of the spine. And they had to be very careful. I mean, of course, it wasn't for me. I mean, people do all kinds of stuff in this world that I don't pay much attention to. But I'd say be careful. You got to be very careful. You have to build a system inside yourself that is truly strong enough to do that kind of work with people that are ill. It takes time. And when you're ready to do it, I trust me, God will send you. It was like a bakery, my loft on 4th Avenue. I mean it. Take a number. I lined up out the door. I had people I didn't even know coming from all over the place with problems. And one of the decisions I made, which was a very difficult decision, and I would always ask this question from people, do you want to use your illness to get closer to God? Or do you just want to live another 10 years? Or do you want to use this in a real way to get a spiritual life? And that's what illness is. You can use it to build a spiritual life in yourself, because you've got to be very strong to transcend it. And 90% of the people were not interested. All they wanted was to get well and to have another 10 years of life. Okay, that's all right, But then I said, Stuart, you're going to kill yourself. And then there were a few people. I mean, Chris was one of them. She had cancer, and who used it to have a spiritual life. And they got 1,000% of my attention. Chris was in Kathmandu, with emphysema, and, it's like polluted hell there, in Kathmandu. I mean it. I've been there a lot, and it's like pollution personified there. And I told her, give up the Bahini, give it away to Aruna, let them run it. It's their country, their people. Come to New York and stay with me, and we'll get you healed. And she did, And within about 3 months, she was okay, it was fine. So you have to be very careful about healing. So, healing yourself, okay, but healing other people, boy, you really have to be strong inside. It's not just giving them a pill, say you're going to be better, like doctors do. There's Western medicine that they call medicine, they give you a pill and you're going to get better. And 90% of the time it makes it worse.
Yes. Thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
very clear. Thank you.
And I promise you, just to finish this, when you get strong enough in yourself, people will come. I mean, Shakur, this, got him over this thing. Daniela living in Israel also. She's, people come, but you have the strength to deal with it. You have a chakra system that can transform some of the darkest energies in people into the spiritual life. Does anyone else have a question? Good question. See, questions are great. Questions, really terrific. Don't think about them. Let them be something in you that really will take you to another level in your life. Not something diagrammic in your head and, trying to figure out Kundalini, trying to figure out chakras, something that will take you to another level in your life. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, there'll be meditation on Sunday. God bless you all. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing everybody and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. Great answers.
Have a good
Thank
week.
Bye.
Thank you.